Just had a meeting with a lawyer here in Addis as well. Luckily on my last day I made it work to also speak to him, get some more insights from different authorities, and also get some very good insights from him onto how investment is and how the regulations for an Airbnb or short-term rental business here actually is. And one of the things that was already quite clear for me, but is, for example, the guest house business or Airbnb business is a relatively new thing here in Ethiopia. Yeah. So therefore, for example, of course, foreign regulation and diaspora regulation they differ. Yeah. Let me maybe give you the easier one for the diaspora. So for diaspora, it's quite straightforward. So the first thing, of course, you need the fader, and you need the blue or yellow ID. If you have these. Yeah, if you have the blue or yellow ID, you can get the fader. Fader is basically something like a, how do you call it? It's more like a social security number or like an identification number is what he explained to me. So this is just one piece of paper you can get, I think also from the embassies, wherever you're based, or if you have it already, even better. But you need these two, the blue or yellow ID and the fader, to actually operate the business here in Ethiopia. Yeah. Once you have that, you can just the way he explained to me is you can then go ahead and register officially with the trade authority here. So register a business, but it's also everything done online here, or you can do it through a lawyer as well. You register your business. You get a couple of documents in, like in any other country as well. It's not nothing that varies heavily from other countries. So in this case, you also need the tax ID. Like the identification number for your company, for taxes. If you sign a rental contract, for example, you rent an apartment in this building as a diaspora, you just need the rental contract. Then there's an authority where you just need to validate the documents you get. Let's say the lease agreement now in this case, show that you have the tax ID, show that you have the rental agreement, show that you have the company incorporated. And once you have all of this, you can go ahead and operate this business. So it's not, at least from our current understanding, what he gave me now is like, because it's a relatively new business in Ethiopia, there's nothing like that the tourism commission or tourism authorities want you to have and acquire another license. Like for example in Zanzibar or Kenya, there you need tourism licenses, and other countries as well. But as far as he just explained to me, it's not necessary here. So once you register this business as a guest house business, basically, you can just go ahead and start operating this business. So it's quite straightforward, I have to say, and also quite price-wise very decent. So he told me the official fee for getting the documents validated, registering the company, getting the tax number in and stuff like this, just from the legal side, the official government side, is less than 100,000 birr. So it's quite straightforward. It's not too expensive compared to other countries. As I said, just as one example, in Zanzibar, just to have a tourism license, one time is $1,000. Then to get an annual license from the tourism authorities is another, at least minimum $2,500 for just a simple Airbnb, for example. So the numbers there are much higher. Also again, incorporation is also around $700-800 for like a company. So you have much more costs that accumulate than compared to Addis or Ethiopia right now, what I've learned. So if this is all the requirements that are needed, it's very straightforward. It's still very simple. And then you can just go ahead and basically pay your tax. That's what he said. It's like a 35% profit tax here on income tax here as well. So it's quite high, you know, because also of the issues the country is facing in terms of like the devaluation of the currency, instability and stuff like this. The pressure gets higher, of course, on the smaller people and on the smaller businesses in that case. But still, it's like as long as you can make the profits and you calculate this also within the business, salam, it's not the worst, you know, because you still can profit from being here and being a professional short-term rental host in the guest house business, because you can profit enough from it, you know. Second thing is also, like, now when I touch a little bit on the foreigner side, it's of course more difficult. I think I mentioned in another video when I also went to the Ethiopian Investment Commission. Let me just settle down here, it's a bit loud and hectic here. There, for example, you need just to start this or like have a company solely under your name as 100% owner of the shares of the company. You need to have at least an investment of $200,000, which you also then of course need to deposit here in Ethiopia, in an Ethiopian bank. With the joint venture, it's like 150,000, so you need a bigger investment for a foreigner. And then also he said the regulations change slightly, and you also need to be involved with different authorities. I don't think that there is a tourism license that needed, but just licensing and stuff becomes a bit more difficult and a bit more tricky. Yeah, correct. And then another point is, for instance, just to have a conclusion about this, I think especially for diaspora, it's first off much easier anyways. And I know many of you guys from the diaspora said, now me as a Eritrean, I don't have the advantage of doing things here that easy, you know, like, or being seen as a local here in terms of doing business. So it's a bit more difficult for me, or like for other foreigners. But once you have your idea and stuff, it's quite straightforward. And then looking at this, I know Ethiopia also brings a lot of risk in terms of investment, you know. As I mentioned, instability, currency devaluation, you have laws and regulations that can change. You wake up tomorrow, they change, and you need a new license, you need to pay maybe more taxes or whatever it is, you know. So like, you're not really secure on this note. But the good thing also, I asked him also very honestly and openly, and also with conversation with many other people, also to be very honest on that side, is like, I met people that are leaving the country, also just told me very straightforward, like there are people that are leaving the country because it's too hectic, it's too much changes, it's too much insecurity for them. But this again is also in different sectors, you know. Like now I met a lady myself, she's a manufacturing business, or it's a manufacturing business, and she is from Iran, leaving the country, for example. He told me it's a couple of agents that come, they leave the country because it's just too hectic and they ask for too many things. But I think the good thing also here in this instance, like in the Airbnb space, Airbnb short-term rental space now in this case, if imagine it's just you rent an apartment here, for example, you furnish it, you rent it out, your risk is so much lower, and you don't have too many parties involved. For example, like when you start constructing this entire building now, or when you start a manufacturing plant now, or when you start an entire hotel business where you invest multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even more, into the business, where you then have to go and get many more different licenses. Whereas in this kind of business model, you lower the risk because you're just renting an apartment in a building that has been already constructed. So the construction company is facing these challenges that you are not having to fight for. So therefore I think their risk is there for sure. Said currency, you have issues with getting money out of the country, you have maybe relatively high taxes, you have instability, you have many risks, you know, like especially politically, you know. But I would say in this case, in this term kind of business, I think the risk is also relatively lower, much lower to compare to most other businesses where you really do something like what is really, let's say like manufacturing or like construction or like import and exporting, where you have so many more parties involved, you know. So it's for me interesting. I'm glad that I had this meeting, because now I put some more pieces together from all the conversations I had over the last 2 weeks as well. So Ethiopia, I think, might be very interesting for diaspora to invest or reinvest their money, you know. Said you don't even have to purchase an apartment if you want to lower the risk in the beginning, especially. You can also just rent an apartment, start with Airbnb arbitrage, you know. You like don't maybe put all your eggs in one basket or invest all your money into buying one single apartment, you know, like when you could with the same money rent 10 apartments, furnish 10 apartments, and get 10 times the cash flow, for example, you know. Even if you don't get appreciation of the property, but you still get 10 times the cash flow, at least in this instance, would then also could help you to just reinvest the money quicker and then buy apartments even much faster, if that makes sense. So I hope sharing my thoughts now in this case helped you. This is, I would say, it for now. What I have in mind now, the next destination I will go through is I will look for some furniture to get the whole picture together, like visit some woodworking guys and see how much actually, then what's the total cost of starting this kind of business here in Addis, just to make it make sense in full, to get the full picture in. So therefore, if this is what you're wanting to do, you want to build an Airbnb business on the African continent, in this case maybe in Addis, I put the link down below in the description. We have a community where we teach people how to successfully build a short-term rental business here in Africa and make it work. And if you have one already, we also help you with optimizing this business, that you get more profits, it's more sustainable, support the local communities just to build a sustainable business for yourself here back on the African continent. So if there's something for you, I put the link down in the description. You can just click it, sign up, join us, and we'd be happy to have you on board with us, and I'll see you in the next video.